Fnatic, right now, top of the EU LCS, no question. They are on a roll.
2017 Fnatic was being crazy and going for a lot of kills, but in a way, 2018 Fnatic is actually the opposite. We are much more now seen as a team that has the best macro.
On the opposite side, you have Misfits. When the season started, Hussein came out and said that Zenkox was the best choice for this team, but he's just not enough right now.
Oh, Zenkox, he almost got out for a second, couldn't quite make it happen.
I don't believe in Zenkox to reach a level where he can contest with the rest of the top.
I mean, you're going toe-to-toe with Caps.
The target is the king of Europe. Caps takes him out.
He just has to hope and pray and survive. There is not a chance he's coming out winning.
Zenkox is not supposed to be a top 3 player. People are not expecting Caps things or Perks things out of Zenkox. But people are expecting Jankos things out of Maxwell. And he is not performing.
Oh, that's a crit build right there. Maxlor is in trouble right now, flashing.
I've had a lot of highs, but I've had some lows, and you can just say, oh, it's the main reason we lost. We'll make playoffs, and once we get there, we have a good track record of just stomping everyone, except for finals.
Reckless versus Hansama, this is the marquee matchup. We saw how good Hansama can be.
They stopped Hansama's recall. Cobby finding the dog all isolated. That's a lot of damage. Whoa! He wins the 1v2! He's down!
I always become a better ADC after each time I face it.
Shut down Reckless, trying to prove that he can make the plays too.
It's very exciting to play against such a legend.
Triple kill on the Xayah, and that might be it right now.
Sorry, I was going with Thunder.
And I wish to become legends one day.
Now, there's no doubt the Fnatic are the favorites. They have the best carry duo in Europe. But Misfits, but if they want to cement themselves as a top team, all you have to do is beat Fnatic.
Welcome back to the European LCS Spring Split and our match of the week between Misfits Gaming and Fnatic. I'd also like to welcome Splice's Kasing. Hello. He will join us for picks and bans. The King, Deficio, isn't that something you meant to say or do right now?
It is an honor to be joined by the best support in Europe. Sadly, he will not be staying for the entire game. He'll just be here for the pick and ban phase. We cannot have you for the entire game because you would outshine me too much, and that would hurt me.
And his laugh would probably hurt our ears by the end of it. On the blue side, we've got the world's quarterfinalists, Misfits, currently on a 6-6 record, facing up against Fnatic today, and eyes have to be on that mid-jungle duo.
Kasing, what do you think about Misfits at the moment?
I actually think Misfits, they're pretty solid or well-rounded. They're kind of like us. Just, you know, really, how do I say it? They're really good up into the early late game, as you have mentioned in our podcast.
There you go.
But, however, I feel
just around the first team fight.
But I feel like Misfits, they have a really good early game plan. They always pretty much, you know, carry out their win condition.
Yeah, and I actually expect Misfits to be one of the teams who will benefit the most from the new meta, where it is a lot more about early mid-game and getting that first Baron and trying to use that to close it up, because that's where they look good.
Well, on the other side, we have Fnatic, of course, beat G2 last week, currently sitting at the top of the table. An incredibly strong lineup, and fan favorites, it would seem, as well. Kasing, your thoughts about Fnatic?
Well, you know, they have Reckless, so they've won. I'm kidding. But the Fnatic have always been really good, really solid anyway, in the way they play. So I actually think maybe this patch, or this new, like, since this new patch and all that stuff, I feel like Fnatic actually may come out on top of this compared to Misfits. So I think Fnatic have a very good shot at this.
So one thing we hear Fnatic members, especially Reckless, talk about is how it feels like this Fnatic, they're smarter. You know, they're better playing the map. Last year was too much about kills. Do you agree with that, or do you still think the main strength is they have, like, insane carries?
I mean, I feel like their macro has always been good, but I think that's mainly because of the fact that maybe because of Soaz and Reckless being veteran players and, you know, Caps, Broxer, as the rookies did before, they just pretty much know, or maybe Reckless and Soaz are, like, leading them really well. And I think Fnatic's macro has always been good.
And speaking of those standout players, Reckless is one of them, looking like the best AD carry at the moment. He's up against Hansama, who for the first start of the split was good, probably the best AD carry in Europe statistically, but these guys are tearing it up for their teams.
Yeah, it's definitely for Hansama. The last few weeks has been less about hyper carry and go to late game and then do everything for your team. It's been all about Ezreal, the mid game, which actually would fit the current meta pretty well. We've seen quite a few Ezreal bans already, but...
What are your thoughts about changes in bot lane? Do you think 8.4 has actually messed things up that much, or do you think we're just going to see the same sort of stuff, Kasing?
I think 8.4 for bot lane anyway. I think it's obviously higher priority on like Xayah, for example, but we didn't see much priority in the early games. But I feel like bot lane priority is much more important now compared to before. And I think this makes, well, as you saw in our game, it made quite a big difference because of the fact that if you have Zyra Khan, you pretty much get priority in every wave.
So do you think that helps either of these AD carries more than the other?
I think it helps Handsomer more than Reckless, because Reckless is more of a Tristana player, which is obviously banned now. So I'm not sure what, maybe Reckless plays Zyra.
I mean, yeah, Fnatic did play Zyra Khan
first couple of weeks
when a lot of other teams had already dropped it. Obviously the last game, well, when you guys played it, it was you and Copy, so a great standout bot lane that managed to do it. Not everyone can pull off the Zyra Khan the way you did it.
You're too kind to this year.
I think it's probably the best bot lane performance I have seen ever. Just ever.
Really? On this patch with Zyra Khan,
yes.
I agree.
Yeah, that's true. I totally. So, Azir, Galio, Tristana ban, Camille, Rise taken away by Fnatic. Where are we looking now?
I think they'll probably ban Cassio at this rate, because I think Cassio is probably the highest priority mid laner. I mean, I don't think there are any other good mid laners.
We haven't seen it.
Oh, is it a Skarner or Cassio? Okay. I guess they'll pick Cassio soon. I mean, Cassio is really broken in this patch, by the way, with new tier.
So Zyra, first pick. Not a big surprise on their side. Answer if you are Fnatic, because you know Zyra Khan is coming.
I mean, I think they will probably go like Alistar into Zyra Khan, because it's like a good counter, especially like you can pretty much counter his all-in with Braum too, or anything that all-ins. I think Fnatic should probably go like Ezreal Braum or Ezreal Alistar.
Okay, that would make a lot of sense. They're going to pick the Sion to start it off in the top lane, but have to see if they do decide to go for that Ezreal down towards the bottom side.
Sejuani's still here. We've seen almost every team grab it for themselves early in the draft, and Fnatic will join them. So Rakan obviously is kind of the no-brainer here on Misfits' side. Galio is banned away, so they can't take that one. Anything else specifically we're looking at? Is it a Zac and just match jungle for jungle?
I think actually Kha'Zix is not that bad now that I think about it. Like, even though people say that Sejuani beats Kha'Zix later, I feel like Kha'Zix applies the early game pressure that you can have with Zyra Khan, and I think they can snowball through early game through this.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Oh!
That was just locked in instantly.
I think Frogan just joined the stage.
Okay, well that's an Anivia. Wave clear?
I mean...
Selfie played it once?
Please do it, Caps. Every game you play Aurelion Sol, I love you. Just do it. But Anivia, is this something you've noticed a lot of, Kissing?
Actually, no. I mean, I know it's decent in this patch, especially against Sion, because you can like block his ulti with your wall.
Exactly.
So I think it's a pretty good smart draft by Misfits.
I guess it makes sense then, doesn't it? You block it, that's your disengage done. You can re-engage with the Zyra Khan if you need to, especially if you get ahead in that bottom lane 2v2. It's a Sivir, not an Ezreal for Reckless, something that he tends towards a little bit more. I remember him saying Ezreal is a bad AD carry.
He didn't like playing it, at least. Sivir, of course, when you run double insane tank frontline, does make sense, but I want to see what they pick support-wise, and if Misfits just ban away the Braum and the Alistar that you highlighted, or if they want to target mid laners against Caps.
I think they'll probably target, I would say they'll target supports, or mids. Yeah.
You got that in, you snuck that in time.
Really good prediction there, Kassim.
I was just thinking, like, even if they have Alistar or Braum, doesn't really matter because they'll get priority anyway as Zyra Khan. But I think, I don't know actually what beats Anivia. I don't know this champion too well.
I mean, a lot of the times you just play stuff that roams away from her because she's so slow. Like, it takes her forever to follow Taliyah, Aurelion Sol, these kind of picks, and you just destroy either top lane or bot lane is one option for Fnatic on their side. If you can't play something that can actually kill the Anivia in the 1v1.
Fnatic are going to get rid of the Trundle for that.
Oh, they banned Taliyah, so that makes sense.
Taliyah gets removed. Aurelion Sol can still roam away as well, of course.
Yeah, and I think some of the new items actually can benefit Aurelion Sol quite a lot as well. So I think it is a valuable or viable choice for him, but they can still wait with the mid lane pick and just grab support here, as they already know the bottom lane.
I think right now, actually, now that I think about it, like, Fnatic is pretty much going to full scaling, so they're pretty much going to hope that they can farm with, like, Sivir until they have 3 or 4 items, and then they win the game from there.
Victor is then an option. We get Sivir Victor again. I think that is a little bit weaker in this patch against Banner, but Sivir is one of the champions who can actually try and get some damage on the Banner of Command minion if she gets close enough.
I think,
go ahead, Kassim.
I think right now, by the way, Misfits will probably outdraft Fnatic because their early game is 10 times stronger.
Okay, so it's all about the early game draft.
I mean, for Misfits, yes. They have to win in early with the Shen. Otherwise, once it gets like past 25 minutes, I think Fnatic will win.
Right, they've got the Shen, they've got the Jarvan now for those early ganks as well. A lot of focus down towards that bottom side, we have to think. Fnatic looking for the counter here. Something that roams, maybe the Aurelion Sol is an option.
Is that a Victor for me? It's the 2 picks we highlighted for Caps. Either you go Victor and it's all about wave clear and scaling, or you go Aurelion Sol and it's about roaming away and trying to snowball lane. But they don't really have a lane that can snowball, so the Victor would make a lot of sense. Instead, all right, more scaling on their side with the Corki.
It's Caps' pocket pick Corki, isn't it? The pick that just pretty much teared me apart when I was playing against him.
I feel like Caps has a lot of pocket picks.
Yes.
I mean, he's just really talented.
130 or so of them. You can just pick whichever champion he
All
wants.
right, Kissing.
Yeah, tell us who you think won the draft.
Okay, honestly, I think Fnatic can actually stall out the game because it's actually really good for them. I think Misfits picking Shen is the one way to counter Sign, but it's not really a counter because late game, first Sign will keep pushing Shen. And I feel like Shen doesn't really have anything that can actually kill the Bandit minion, whereas Sign, like, we would kill it faster. But either way, they're both tank versus tank. I think this game, maybe Misfits early game, they have to basically make plays or create plays. If they cannot do that, then they pretty much lose.
And especially around the bottom lane with
Yes.
Zyra Rakan and the Shen coming down. It's kind of where we're looking. Level 6, that's the first one.
Yeah, I think if they don't make this play or it goes badly, as we've seen before, I think when Maxwell like played Lee Sin and just didn't even kick.
Oh yeah, let's highlight that one again.
Yeah, that was terrible. But yeah, I think Misfits, if they make their plays early game and pretty much snowball the lead, I think they can win the game.
Senkuk's on the Anivia in the mid lane as well. We'll have to watch Misfits early game. We'll have to see Fnatic's try to scale this one out. Thank you very much for joining us. By the way, Kissing, any last thoughts you have about this game? Any way you think the game may be decided?
I think it's a hashtag Fnatic win for me, in my opinion. I feel like their draft is just much better later, and I feel like it's not worth to go early game drafts.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Thank you very much for joining us again.
Very
you
much,
can
man.
take off your headset now as I hold down your mute button.
And I will talk to fill time
You
instead.
do that, Deficio.
While Kasing will leave us and we go into the game. Whoa, hang on. 1 second.
Oh, you haven't taken the cables off. Here we go. I will do this. There we
The
are.
entire crowd can see Kasing get stuck in the cable and pull back towards the caster desk.
But we are on to the Summoner's Rift, Deficio. Kissing thinks it's Fnatic favoured as we fuse the two halves. I want to talk about this mid lane because Senkos has picked up an Anivia.
Yeah, see, sadly, I don't think in the actual matchup that much is going to happen when you play Anivia versus Corki.
Yeah, it's not the most exciting matchup.
So instead, like, they locked in this Anivia very early on in the draft. They saw the sign, they knew, okay, we got the wall. That's going to be one way to play this game. I think maybe they were expecting Fnatic to either potentially ban Anivia for second phase, or they just want to get it so they could ban away at least the Kassadin that they didn't want to face when they locked it in. Because it was very clearly instant locked by Senkuk saying, I'm going to play Anivia here. I don't even know the mid lane matchup just yet, but it's fine as long as we get rid of Kassadin, and in this case Talia. And Fnatic, because they didn't have any lanes they wanted to really play around early, said we just go scaling. Victor was one choice, Corki was the other one.
Before we get into the real meat of the game, I have a stat that I will present to you quickly. Mickey X and Hylissang are sitting at the top of the table for assists in the EU LCS this split. Hylissang gets 7 or Mickey X gets 2 first.
Oh.
The first to reach that 100 mark. It's a hard job for Hylissang, but
Yeah.
you never know.
Definitely want to say odds are in favor of Mickey. He just needs 2 of them, and he's playing Rakan. So it is very
Pretty
often
easy to get assists on the card.
Very often you are the main engaged. Bottom lane Hylissang will come down after, of course, being near Broxa for the level 1. We talked in the pick and ban phase a lot about Misfits needing to snowball, especially around bot lane. Shen late game is not the greatest. Desire Rakan is one lane you can play around, especially at level 6 with a Shen ulti. Obviously Fnatic will know this on their side, and it's on them to just make sure that either you are defensive enough, you will die to the play, or you can try and lane swap out of it. Always the answer against Shen is you just attack him.
Have to see if Boxer does path up towards that. It was a very common tactic for Fnatic, that level 4 gank up to, or 4-minute gank up towards that top lane to try and get Soaz ahead, and then Boxer was focused on the rest of the map. Maxwell's gone from his blue down towards the bottom side to pick up this Scuttle Crab. No wards yet in either of the jungles. Reckless is going to get knocked up for hit by Hylissang. Damage coming back out. Mickey X has to jump away. And it's great play from Hylissang. Did hit level 2 first before Reckless.
Instantly, just with the combo right there from Hylissang.
That's why Alistair's good into Rakan as well, because as soon as he jumps in, you can just knock him up and knock him back. Stop him from being able to do too much work. But Hunsummer and Mickey do have the push in that bottom lane and are trying to get some deep vision off.
So fun fact, when Hylissang came down the lane level 1, a minion died where Reckless was out of range. So that's why Hylissang got the experience and got level 2 a little bit early. I don't think Mickey expected him to hit level 2 right there when he all-in'd, and got surprised. Nothing was really used on the side of Misfits, other than another potion, but that was a little bit of a surprise level 2 from the Alistar.
Mickey's still gone down the stopwatch tree as well, of course. It's nerfed, goes up to 10 minutes before you're able to use that, so it's a lot slower for him. Rakan is always going to be jumping into the middle of the fray, so trying to keep himself safe. Caps just pushes out the middle lane.
And it can be used for that one big tower dive you're looking for, where you dive in, use everything as a recon, and then before you die, you have to stopwatch to reset the aggro. And he clearly thinks that it's worth it to go stopwatch here, despite almost no one else actually taking it at the moment, just for that potential one big play he can make. Let's see what happens, but again, good trade.
Down there's the knock-up from Hillesang. Looking for the stun as well, but Hansama's trading back on towards Reckless. Mickey lands the knock onto Hilly. And we'll just back away for the moment.
And I've really been looking forward to this game here, because Fnatic have been fine accepting just play for late game. In some of the games, have done a good job stalling, while Misfits have been very successful early mid game for almost the entire split. It's just late game, early late game. You know, when they start hitting that 3-item point around 30 minutes, you gotta play around another Baron. That's why they've made some big mistakes in teamfights and lost a lot of games. But in this meta here, if you can successfully get ahead early and get that early Baron with the ban of command, you can get really far ahead. So I can definitely see this patch be really good for Misfits, because they have really good Baron setups normally. Another fight brought in, they just keep fighting each other.
Stun on towards Hansama, the ignite onto Reckless, has to flash with the heal as well. Mickey trying to get that final bit of damage down. Hansama still has a flash of his own. Hillesang standing around, has his own flashback up. Can get the trample out, flash followed from Hillesang. The flash away, one more, so that's the kill from Hillesang, and Fnatic get first blood.
So we have Zyricon winning on farm, but it doesn't matter if Fnatic can then make a big play and actually get a kill, because now it means Reckless can get to go back to base without losing too much damage on his turret. This was a big one for Fnatic down the bottom lane. We've had 3 big fights already between the dual lanes. Reckless actually stopped his recall, wanted to try and go for another wave.
Maybe thought that Mickey would push a little bit too far out, could land a boomerang, which would have been enough.
So they still get to push out and recall for themselves. Like, normally when you get pushed in so much in the bottom lane, it's really hard for you to get a good base, because when you do, the enemy might get a ton of damage on turret, or they get to base first and return to lane before you and keep the advantage in their favor. But because of this fight here, good flash from Reckless, and then Hillesang knows, just needs cooldowns, just waiting for them. Hansama won't be able to get away. Tremble, flash, smack, and Q in the face. Great first blood. Suddenly it shifts over to Fnatic, and they get to decide when they can recall. As you can look now at the bottom lane, how Reckless and Hillesang will return to the lane by the time this minion wave will do anything. Hansama knows, he just sits, freezes it. It's like, yeah, can't really do anything, or at least just push it.
Maxwell jumps in for the steal here. Box can try and turn it around. Mickey there, the Hex Flash in from Hillesang, the knock away from Maxwell, and now Mickey's in a
Blast Cone.
A world of hurt. Does have the Blast Cone, Maxwell there as well. Maxwell takes it and leaves Mickey on the other side. It's like, excuse me, Maxwell? We were meant to take that trip together.
Well, successful first blood for Fnatic. Doesn't change the plan for Misfits at all. Get level 6 in your bottom lane, make a play with Shen ulti, try and snowball the game. They will steal away a blue buff as well.
Deny it from Caps. Senkux gets it. It's on this Anivia, has the tier first item. Something we're seeing a lot of mid laners do if they want to spam out that mana. And Senkux has been a key point as well for Misfits across the last couple of weeks. Early on in the split, he was very much one of their weaker members. In fact, I think you go as far as say their weakest member. But last week, he didn't die. 21 KDA, out-damaged his opposing laners. Wasn't as bad as he was before.
It was definitely a good week for Senkux. Specifically in this game here, the mana stacking thing you can do now, because you know it's really easy to go for tier into Rod of Ages, into Xerath, and then you get this giant shield in the late game. Xerath, of course, will provide you with some nice CDR. Hillesang trying to be annoying with his little Hex Flash. So I'm definitely expecting their Rod of Ages and Xerath Embrace build from Senkux. And we get a ton of mana on him to just constantly sit and wave clear, spam away, good CDR, and if you ever get close enough to try and kill him, pop the Xerath, giant shield in his face.
I've always wondered with Anivia. You know how when you die you have this egg form, right?
Yes.
Is that Anivia laying an egg and a new Anivia like arises from it? Or is there some sort of like regression into childhood eggness?
I always felt like it was kind of like a phoenix, where instead of going to ashes,
oh, that makes sense.
She just becomes an egg, and then she gets
like a frozen
reborn.
phoenix.
Yeah, she's a frozen phoenix.
Oh, that's cool.
Instead of frozen ashes, because that would make it.
Yeah, frozen ashes makes no sense.
Makes no sense, right? So.
However, a frozen egg makes a lot of sense.
Technically,
biologically, that is perfection to me.
She could have just become like an ice block or something.
That's true.
And then, bam, she's back.
Imagine she became a wall. She's like blocked off.
She's a wall now.
So as Alfari trading in the top lane. Not too much going on here.
Caps on his way though.
Has roam up towards this top side. The Caps onto Broxer as well. There's the ignite. He's being caught out as Senkers puts down a flash frost. That's the kill.
Okay. So, when your mid laner goes top lane, do not as a jungler invade the enemy jungle on the bottom side. That's not how it works, because your mid laner walked away from the lane, and he walked away from you. Broxer wanted to sneak in and get a ward on the red buff, but Camps wasn't even close.
And now Senkers has double buffs.
That was just a free kill gifted by Broxer. Completely unnecessary. Go with your mid laner, let him stay mid at least, and then you can go in and place the ward if he's there to back you up. Don't do it when your mid laner is leaving the lane to go to the other side of the map.
Got to play with your priority. Got to play.
Look, that was just bad.
Advantage.
That was bad. They got punished. There we go. Misfits got a kill.
And it starts to even out that early kill that Fnatic got as well, because remember we said Misfits need to win this early game. They needed to play around the level 6 on Alfari, the roam from Maxlaw, Hans Summon, Mickey hitting that level 6 mark as well. They're the ones moving away from that bottom lane.
Well, they're predicting also that Fnatic will do the same. Look at the minimap. Fnatic, they're also on the way to top lane, so they can keep the Zyra Khan in the 2v2 lane and try and make a play around it with the Shen ulti very soon. Mickey needs that level 6 for himself. He got it now. 4 members of Fnatic are top, trying to see if a fight will happen. They're potentially baiting it. Jankos, not Jankos, Broxer.
Hans Summon's going to pop the Feather Storm here to get away. A Quadra Charm from Mickey as they try and get Hans Summon to safety. Hillisang with the engage. The Feathers get pulled back, ripped through Fnatic, but Hillisang's going to rip straight through Hans Summer. He falls forward. It's a 1-for-1 trade. And the roam is coming up from Senkux as well. Mickey's not wanting to give this one up. Gets the knock up onto Soaz, looking for the chase. Alfari, the taunt, he can sense it.
Oh no, they didn't get enough here. That was a 1-for-1, but it's important to highlight that Misfits were setting up for a big play, where they would be the ones who started the fight. They would use the Shen ulti aggressively to try and get a couple of kills in the turret. But by Fnatic, having the jungler top and Soaz staying top lane, they actually get to force the fight. So it becomes a defensive Shen ulti. The gank from Maxlaw becomes defensive to try and counter gank. And yes, it's a 1-for-1, but that's good enough for Fnatic, because they knew there was a big play coming against them, and now they get to pause everything. That Shen ulti is on a very long cooldown after we nerfed it so many times.
And Summer did actually use his ultimate slightly early there. Got caught coming down from it by the Decimating Smash, which meant he wasn't able to get underneath the tower quickly enough. Misfits still making that Rift Herald play though. And I have been informed that Anivia is officially a Cryo Phoenix officio, so great job knowing that.
Thank you, mate. I had to make up for it after the...
It's that old knowledge coming
one.
back into effect. Now, let's have a look at the state of the game. 12 minutes in, even between these two. Misfits going to get themselves a Rift Herald, and they have that Cloud Drake as well, remember?
Yeah, so Misfits, they still got time. They still have the stronger 2v2 lane they can play around, but it's been slowed down. The first blood in favor of Hillisang, and then Fnatic reading that little swap on top side, forcing an aggressive play, so Misfits have to be defensive with the Shen ult. Again, it buys time for Fnatic. It's all they care about. Legit Fnatic vs GG all over again.
Yeah, you're just waiting for those MVP candidates to scale up. You're waiting for Caps, you're waiting for Reckless.
It's
you
true.
put them very high up on your top 5, second and third. Check out the full article at eu.lolesports.com.
Still not a very pretty graphic.
I think you look beautiful, Deficio.
Thank you, mate.
Even though you have no friends, as we discussed in the...
No, I had many friends, that's what...
Oh yes, sorry, yes. Rift Herald used in the top lane. Reckless had such a great performance last week. He needs to do that again today on Sivir, because Misfits are trying to put down some pressure.
They're trying to snowball the game, trying to ruin the CSD at 15 stats from Reckless. The important stats if you're an AD carry.
Plus 20 last week. Well,
This game.
What it is this game?
He's down 17.
Oh, he's down 17.
But we're not at 15 yet.
Okay. He's got 2 minutes to get 37 CS more than Hans Summer gets.
There we go, yeah, 1.
More than Hans Summer, though.
Yeah, but I mean, you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, it's true.
There's another wave
So,
for him now.
Deficio, we've opened up the top side of the map. That tower's gone down. First tower of the game, 2 Misfits. What happens next?
All right, Shen ulti is almost ready. They can put Zyra Khan on bottom side to play around the bot lane turret, so they need to keep snowballing the objective to actually get the more map pressure so they can set up for Baron after this. They are going top lane just to match, because right now Fnatic gets to push first with Reckless, and by going top here, there might be a chance of a fight where Shen can ulti in, and there's no tower to protect Fnatic. Reckless knows this. Broxah is around to try once again to protect his duo lane. Fnatic are trying to read where Misfits want to be aggressive. Hint, hint, Xayah Rakan lane. He's hiding. Will this be another one where Alpari needs to use it defensively?
Oh.
Did he just...
Yeah, he stood outside the bush.
But they're still baiting it.
Oh, they're baiting for Broxah. Mickey's gonna phase check. There's the Glacial Wisdom. Hillisang, Hex Flash across the wall. The re-engage comes out though because Max Law's on his way. Knocked back from Hillisang. The chase on Summer onto Hilly. There's the Cataclysm, the cow caught in the pit of doom. And Hillisang's gonna get shred down by the Misfits.
Fnatic tried to bait a play here to force the defensive ult. Alpari didn't even use his ult. He knew, wait, they don't want to take this fight. They can't take that fight right now. So when Fnatic had to walk away, realizing they're probably going to lose a member or two, Misfits still kept the Shen ulti. Good play. Both teams, like a lot of mind games here.
Yeah.
Like who's going to make the play now, who's going to force it.
Thing about it is though, Misfits don't actually get too much from that. Yes, you get a push in the top lane. They didn't get tower down to the bot.
That means you can recall now and you can actually swap to the bottom side or the mid with Xayah Rakan, and you can make a play around that lane instead. Shen ulti is what Fnatic were hoping to get out here. Doesn't happen, and instead Hillisang, without a flash, is caught and will die. Senkux, of course, get an easy kill for himself. So Fnatic were trying to make the same play we saw a couple of minutes ago. This time it is in favor of Misfits. They actually go back top again with Xayah Rakan.
Reckless did get a CS lead at 15 minutes, so he continues to have positive CSD.
Always finds a way.
It's 20 farm in the mid lane for Caps as well, but Senkux has had a very good performance on this Anivia. Double scaling with the Tear Rod of Ages. Here comes the engage with the Valkyrie. Hillisang caught out with the Flash Frost. Senkux, there's the Stand United. Broxah's on the chase. The Crystallize goes down to the egg. The Cryo Phoenix will rise again though, and Hillisang is the burst the ball. The double charm, the triple charm. Misfits trying to turn this one back around on Fnatic. Maxwell there, the stun. Gonna connect onto Soaz, and that's another kill for Misfits.
He's alive!
The Cox is still alive.
He gets to walk away. Reckless wasn't there for the fight. Fnatic tried to force a play. Senkux used the flash first, and then because of his passive, Shen ult will always make the Shen appear. And suddenly Misfits, quickly with 5 members mid, they turn it around. More kills in their favor. 16 minutes in, they need more turrets, and they need that Baron at the 20-minute mark. This is the play. Senkux knows that he still sits with passive. Buys enough time with the Shen coming in, and as you guys can see in the minimap, Reckless is in base. So the moment that Senkux is going to buy time, Misfits get to be 5 members, 2 kills in their favor. Didn't get any damage on the turret just yet.
Caps did flash at the end of that play as well to try and like thread a needle through. Did a huge amount of damage, but it just wasn't enough to get through the Misfits line. Now they're going to have an Ocean Drake as well, alongside the Cloud, with a 2,000 gold lead.
Yeah, it's good, it's good.
It's good, it's good.
We know Anivia is going to hold mid forever. She's never going to leave that mid lane. Suddenly, you can have Hansama make you control the side lane for as long as possible.
She's never going to let you down.
Definitely will never.
Never going to mess around or desert this mid lane. That's what Senkux wants to do. Stay around here. No big sweepers yet on the side of Misfits. Just sitting on that one on Mickey. Maxor's deciding to stay with the warding totem that we've seen a lot more junglers stick with on 8.4. And I think it's important as well to notice the AD carries, because although we talked about Reckless having a slight CS lead, he's only sitting on the Essence Reaver, whereas we've got Rapid Fire Cannon and Essence Reaver on Hansama now.
Big advantage for Hansama in this game. Also playing a champion that is much better in this mid-game part here, where Reckless is still waiting for multiple crit items to come in on his side.
Still not got those towers down though yet. And Misfits, you have to remember this team is still in the race for playoffs. They still want to get to at least that 6th spot. They're sitting at 6 and 6 at the moment. They need wins.
It is interesting. They keep putting Xayah topside, despite there not being a tower for them to play around at tier 1. Let's see if they want to go for tier 2 or if they want to push it all the way in and then roam mid and make a play in the mid lane turret. It does give a lot of time for Fnatic though to try and set up a play on their side. No flash.
Engage onto Senku's box and misses the Prism Smithy. Why are you here in EU? Get back to NA. Broxah caught out, doesn't get the kill on Mickey, who uses that stopwatch. And Misfits escape.
Oh my god, Fnatic, that was a free kill in the mid lane. That didn't happen though. Misfits gets to walk away. Senkux did have the cleanse for the fight.
Alfari seems to be winning this matchup into Soaz as well, but Caps and Broxah are here to answer it. And Alfari is not in a good spot. Will flash away, gets underneath the tower. Broxah's going to try and tank it up. Alfari gets a shield, but goes down in the end to Fnatic. Misfits get second tower top lane.
Yeah, Hans stayed top, as we talked about multiple times, and he gets a tier 2. But that's with Fnatic getting a kill and a bot lane turret. So Fnatic, running the scaling comp, are getting a lot of gold in return. And it's a very close game now we're getting close to that Baron. I see in mid lane if they can get any damage on the turret. They can move Hansama down. He wants to get a red buff first. Hylissang trying to stop him. Won't happen. Now mid lane turret. If that goes down, still looking good for Misfits.
50 seconds on the Baron as well. Go back, reset, look for the mid lane tower. Hansama here. Crystallize comes down. The wall of ice splits them up. Hylissang cannot find the appropriate flank. Let's look at where we are as the Baron comes up soon to the ship.
Yeah, the 2 lanes around the Baron have lost turrets. So that means Misfits can push them very deep in towards Fnatic. And as we've seen, due to the minimal amount of wards, the moment you get river control with just 2 or 3 control wards, then the team will almost never get enough wards down to actually stop you from doing a Baron. It's much easier to clear out everything and deny all vision. So that is exactly what Misfits are looking for, why they're putting all the focus on mid and top in this game. We get the Seraphs now, also from Senkuk, so the Giant, well, it's almost there. He needs to, of course, fully stack it, but we have the Archangel. Needs about 180 mana more on this Anivia tier. And then we get a nice Giant Shield.
Seafroggen, very happy that Anivia has been picked in the LCS.
And it's not Danish mid lane.
Thank you
like
for the
that.
tweets.
I respect that.
Senkuk's just saying, nodding, tipping his hat to Froggen, saying, this one's for you, my good man.
And this is where you see the Anivia legacy be passed on, because when Froggen in Season 2 were winning everything with Anivia, Senkuk was a little baby.
Yeah.
Like, he was only, what, 14 years old? Basically a baby?
Yeah, it's basically a child.
Watching Froggen play Anivia, and then a few years later, he gets to do it on stage. He's kind of doing well in this game.
He has 1-0-3, got those 2 items. Caps may have to use the Valkyrie to get away from here. The package, there's the Cataclysm. The Caps is just trying to turn it back around there. He jumps away. Glacial Prism connects on towards Maxlor, knocked up as well. But the re-engage with the Charm Hansama there. Reckless gonna kill Mickey. Seconds there very late. Alfari does not join the fray.
No, because Sword followed him and interrupted that ulti from Alfari. Oh, Hansama and the rest of the Misfits lose the fight top lane. The one lane they've been committing to all game long. Maxlor stood in the package from Caps and was then stuck in it because he got chain CC'd and they couldn't actually follow up with damage.
Caps waited with the package for so long as well. He baited them in.
And now he got 2 kills on the Corki here. Fnatic, they're slowly getting to late game. Kasing in the pick and ban phase when he was here, he said at 25 minutes, as long as Fnatic keeps stalling past 25 minutes, they will win with their draft.
However, Misfits have won at least one thing. We'll come back to that in a second afterwards because Caps dodges around for a long time.
So we have the Anivia not here yet. We also know that Shen wants to join with ult, but because Caps bought so much time and then the CC comes down perfectly with a ton of extra damage on Maxlor, Reckless gets to join before Senkuk's, and they just kill Mickey, who's of course very squishy on this Rakan, and suddenly Fnatic get another kill.
And still Misfits playing up towards the top side. You have to remember that Baron is live now, so they need to be around this.
This is why they're playing around the top side so much and not going bot lane to secure that last tier 1 turret. See how early they can get it. There's still no banner on their side, which would be crucial. And still, I think Sivir is going to be one of the best AD carries at actually killing a banner of command minion.
The victory that I spoke of is Mickey X's. He's got 5 assists, which means he's past the 100 assist mark. The first player in the EU LCS they split to do so. Congratulations, Mickey. Well done, all that jazz. Still got to win the game. Misfits setting up deep vision. Dragon spawn soon. It's only an ocean though, so they won't really care too much. Alfari does not have Stand United, but has the teleport if he wants to join this fight. Still no banner on him, as you say. Mickey, Hansama building up towards that 3rd completed item. A completed Seraphs now on Senkuk's.
It feels like Misfits need a kill before they can actually go towards the Baron. Otherwise, it's too risky against things like the Zion, ulti, and his Q in that little Baron pit. We know all the AoE coming from a Corki and a Sivir. It is a very hard draft to play against around a little Baron area, if you look at all the CC on Fnatic's side. So it feels like Misfits needs to create a pick first. They don't have insane hard engage other than Mickey, so he's the one we're looking to do this. The reason I didn't highlight Maxlor in this one was because for a moment I forgot he was playing Java. So they actually have fine hard engage.
Prison used from Broxer there to try and get that kill. Maxlor clearing out some pink wars. There was a triangle of them, but Misfits are going to be able to force Fnatic on the back foot after Broxer tried to make a play.
Yeah, again, we see them get river control, see them kill the few wards placed by Fnatic. As you can see here, scoreboard from Fnatic side. All these trinket wards, they're just waiting and waiting and waiting for them to be ready again so they can actually place just one ward at a time. It's always one ward at a time at this point in the game. And if there's a control ward, it dies. There's a lot of damage.
A lot of damage back onto Senkux as well. You have to remember, he's got that passive. He can come back alive.
Yeah, I still want to see if Mickey and Maxlaw together can find the engage. Caps can Valk out of a Jarvan ult. Broxer can dash. What? Reckless can't really get out other than Flash, so he might be the target if they can get the Flash away from him.
Does always have the spell shield as well for that initial engage to try and not get 100 to 0. But let's look at it. 1,000 gold between these two teams now. Misfits are in the lead. They had the better early game composition, but Fnatic are scaling here.
Yeah.
This show, Fnatic have not lost on the red side at all this split. They have a 100% win record.
My game is over then. You know?
Yeah, it's done, right?
But Misfits are not far enough ahead for what they wanted with this comp. With Zyra Khan plus Shen, they wanted to be way further ahead in this game. They're still trying around the Baron.
Setting up vision,
You can
pushing wave in
see
the top lane.
how much control they have. They want Fnatic to walk into this jungle, not know exactly what's happening, and then hard engage with Mickey and Maxlaw. Also, the wall from Anivia is amazing when you are sieging around a Baron, because you can just block off these small choke points so effectively. And then you can create a pick, but you need to get some flashes. Where Hylissang's flash is on cooldown, so that is one target they can go for. Caps, same, but he can of course Valk. See, Hylissang just jumped over the wall with the hit stick. Mickey's coming in behind Fnatic. Is he able to find any sort of engage? There we go!
Engage onto Caps. Maxwell there as well with the Cataclysm teleports coming in behind them as Fnatic try and turn this one around. Alfari with the taunt Broxer from the side, but Senkux is not in this fight yet. Alfari has to flash away. Now they've re-engaged onto Soax. Alfari caught off towards the top side. He gets healed. Somehow just gets out alive. Misfits keep their top laner alive for the time being.
Reckless thought he had the kill. He already turned around. But then suddenly the heal cam coming in and Alfari stayed alive. Still Fnatic. Survived the fight here. Engaged from Mickey. And there's still flash on the Civic.
It's on Caps as well though. He can always Valkyrie away. He can always get out. Felt like Misfits maybe picked the wrong target there.
I think going for Caps was okay if they chain it properly.
Yeah.
If Mickey forces out the Valk, and then we get the combo from Maxlaw with his ult to keep Caps in place. But I'm just going back to see, because I think... I'm sure if Maxlaw was in range to EQ first and wait with his ulti.
While you check that, we see Caps pushing in the bottom lane. Alfari has been able to deal with most of it. Still hasn't got that bot lane tower yet.
So basically, the engage was actually good from Mickey. But just before Maxlaw had EQ'd, just a little bit outside of the screen, towards, I think it was Hylissang. So that was on cooldown, so therefore he had to use ult first, which allowed Caps to Valk out. Had that EQ combo from John been ready, he would have used that first and knocked up Caps. Caps would have to then Valk out, and then you could ult onto him, and he would be stuck there, and they could actually kill him. But that didn't happen. It was on cooldown just 2 seconds, I believe, longer.
Still see Misfits playing around this Baron. They know that this is what they need to close out this game, but they haven't been able to find it yet. Alfari, no Stand United, they're looking for Hylissang. The flash boss does not connect. Reckless is going on the hunt as he chases into the river here, but that wall was big. Here's the unstoppable. Alfari joins the fight. Soaz on the back line now. Have to watch him as he tanks them up. Hylissang's fallen. Soaz now in the midst of Misfits. 1-for-1 trade, but Soaz is going to be the second, and Misfits are now going to be able to push back towards that Baron.
It's a 2-for-1 trade here. Mickey died. Hatsama and Misfits, they know they need to win these fights here. They know they need to win them now so they can get a Baron. They can't start it. There's still 2 carries on Fnatic side and a jungler who can steal the Baron. They're actually staying around Fnatic here.
Broxer doesn't have the ult, but look at the damage, the flash in, the knockup, Cataclysm onto Caps, but he gets away with the Valkyrie. Once again, this mid laner for Fnatic comes up huge for them, keeps himself alive. Takes a chunk out of Hans Summer's health bar.
And once again, Maxlaw does not manage to get the ulti on Caps when the Valk is on cooldown. So Caps gets out, stays alive, got the flash out of the Jarvan. Fnatic, they keep stalling. Misfits, they keep trying to fight. Let's see the play from before here. I like to start with wall from Senkux to start the fight, and a TP from Alfari actually appears just where the 2 Fnatic carriers are standing. And this means now that Fnatic, they don't really have any threat on either Hansama or Senkux. And Mickey plus Alfari was enough to zone away Caps, and Reckless. So that's a 2-for-1 win for Misfits.
You see how much work those walls are doing as well. If those fights continue in the river like that, and Fnatic are split up into 2 halves, that wall is going to keep them separated, make Caps use the Valkyrie aggressively to try and join the fray. Banner has been finished on Alpha for a while now. You've got a banner on Soaz as well, so those minion waves are going to push. They're answering Alpha with Caps in the bottom lane, who has got a teleport.
Fnatic has swapped over to double blue trinkets on their side. Constantly keep preventing. Yeah, Caps, this is going to take forever, by the way, because your auto attacks deal a lot of magic damage.
It's like, oh, what? I thought I was fed. I'm 3-0. What's going on?
Rita for 59 damage.
Rita. Oh, Misfits going to force the ban because of it. They know that teleport has to come out from Caps. There's control ward in there as well, which Maxwell will clear. Fnatic could look for this. Brox at level 13. Maxwell the same. The steal is on for them. Misfits, this is your win condition. If you lose it, Cap still hasn't teleported. Brox is still waiting. The charm comes out. It's secured by Maxwell. Hylissang jumps in the midst of the pit. Teleport coming out. Mickey should fall, but the Stand United shield keeps him alive. Hylissang in the front, but Mickey goes down. And a great glacial pistol is going to land as well onto Hansama. Senkux kills Caps, but 3 kills for Reckless.
Misfits got the Baron, though. They did a very good job here stopping Broxy from getting in, but then they lose the fight. We talked about this before, Medic. How hard it is to fight against this Fnatic comp in a Baron pit. There's so much AoE, both CC and damage. Reckless got all the time in the world to pick up all the kills he needed. They got the ban of command on their side, hitting at least on this turret. Misfits here.
Hylissang's dead. Tank the tower, and here comes Senkux as well. They get 2. The Fnatic were greedy, Deficia.
Let's see what Misfits can do on their side. They still got Baron buff on 2 members. They still have to wait, sadly, for the carry to respawn. Misfits say no, okay, this is it. They just have to get this Baron, CC Broxa, and then secure it and try and get out. That is the call, that is the goal. They go out with Mickey, stop Broxa from getting into the secure Baron, but now you completely split up. Fnatic are here with all 5 members taking the fight, and no one can get on to Reckless, and Caps actually flashes forward, trying to kill Senkux. That's why he ends up dying. Good fight from the Anivia, and then Senkux is the one who returns because he stayed alive in that fight. Scores a double kill. Now it's Misfits pushing. They're still trying to get a big enough goal lead and see if they can close the game as fast as possible. They got the minion coming. Mickey takes a ton of damage.
Reckless pops beyond the hunt as Fnatic look for a re-engage. Baron buff minion still pushing in. Banner has been used already. Here comes the unstoppable onslaught as Fnatic just force Misfits away. The Rabbits running for their lives.
Senkux still didn't die this game. Leandri's completed. We have long fights. That stacks up to 10% extra magic damage very quickly. And he gets a bit of extra damage against the tanks with the burn. So I like this build so far on his side. We look at Void Staff, we look at Death Cap, and you have a ton of AP on this Anivia. We already talked about how valuable that shield can be from the Seraph because you're stacking so much mana.
We are getting to the late game for Fnatic though, and that's what Kasing said, that's what we said was their win condition. If they could get Corki to 3-4 items, if they could get Sivir to 3 or 4 items, they've now got Hylissang with the Righteous Glory as well for the engage, and Minion Dematerializer stacks still remain on Hylissang. They're going to get their first dragon of the game. It's a mountain 32 minutes in, which means our next one is an Elder. Double banner of commands on Misfits here as well. There's a lot of options for both these teams, but Misfits still don't feel far enough ahead, Deficio, as we get into the early late game or the late mid game, depending on how we want to call it.
If they win the next fight, they win the game. So it doesn't matter how much we talk about Fnatic scaling, because we have one team fight where we currently have a very fed Anivia on 4 items. Hans Sama deals a lot of damage on his side. Yes, he's slightly behind items compared to Reckless, but give him enough time, and if he plays it well, he can still carry a fight. So Misfits, no matter how late we go into the game, it's not like the Cup can't win a fight. And at the moment, if Senkux plays it correctly, he can carry it. He can continue the trend from last week of looking much, much better in these team fights. Hylissang is on the side right now. He's spotted by Afari. Caps his top lane without teleport, so Misfits can keep pushing.
How far will they go? Banner
they don't.
Comes back. Baron fell off as well to Fischio though, so that Baron minion won't be as Bannered minion won't be as strong as it was.
That's fine.
Mini Bob.
They do just take one objective and reset. Caps got a turret topside for himself and his team.
Still no inhibitor down for either team in this game. That Void Staff has been completed. A Knight's Vow on Max Law as well. The Zeke's banner of command for Mickey is his combination of Aegis items. And now we're getting towards the portion of the game where Fnatic thrive. We saw them against G2 last week take their team fighting composition and just absolutely demolish G2 in the late game. Took them a while to get there, but when they were there, they were incredibly strong. Alphari can split push TP Stand United back up, so as has his teleport as well.
Also with their Sereth on Senkuk's side, is currently giving him plus 91 extra AP. Of course, 3% of your maximum mana. So there's quite a lot of bonus AP coming from that one item as well.
Tasty chunk. He's sitting at 482 AP at the moment.
And the shield, if you use it at full mana, which you don't very often, but if you do, 720 extra HP. So a lot of value coming from one item, and of course cooldown reduction.
And he bought some control wards as well.
Ah, what a nice guy. See, he's so smart.
So much more important now as well, because you can't rely on those warding triples. You know, you don't have them. You need control wards, you need sweepers as well.
Hansama got his 4th item. Look at that next big fight. Baron spawning in 2 minutes. We know if Misfits get river control, they can use a Nivea wall in these choke points, try and catch out one Fnatic member, force an early flash in the fight maybe. Then engage happens for Mickey. Well, Fnatic have been stalling and stalling and stalling. They still cannot afford to lose a fight against Misfits. And that's what makes this so interesting for the late game. Hansama versus Reckless, 2 of the best performing AD carries to split in Europe. And Senkuk stepping up recently. A lot of people said in this matchup that he wouldn't be able to do anything against Caps. But then it ended up being a Nivea versus Corki and a Farm Fest, which was actually really good for Senkuks and Misfits.
Good roams from Senkuks as well early
Definitely.
on. A lot of people doubted me when I predicted that Misfits would win. I think I was actually the only one of us who predicted Misfits would win. Don't want to curse them now, obviously.
We know you always want to be the one who picks that one little
That's quick shot. When he predicted H2K,
hey, it worked.
The shook effect, it did work. Max is pushing in here as well. Senkuks has done very well over the last 2 weeks. Still yet to die in his last 3 games. However, Reckless on the other side has only died, well, he's never died more than once in any game since week 1. So a consistent, strong AD carry yet to die this game as well. 2,000 gold between the two teams. That really doesn't matter too much at the moment. We're looking at this Baron. 30 seconds on it. Caps is pushed down. Bot has the teleport. Top lane is pushing in for Misfits as well. Where does the priority lie for these two teams?
It's just all about execution on that next fight. Misfits waiting for Baron to spawn, use it to bait Fnatic in and turn, or just finish the Baron, reset and use the banner of command in your favor. Caps is bot lane at the moment. Remember, he's TP 4.5 seconds before he will show up. Actually takes a trade against Alphari that he's losing at the moment.
Not a good trade for Caps at all. Has to back away from it.
Perfect build from Alphari as well against the Corki. He's like, yeah, I don't care at all.
Adaptive help so good against those spam damage attacks. Misfit's going to start up the Baron. This is it. This is do or die. This is the moment. Great wall. Boxer jumps across it though as he looks to jump into the pick. Glacial Prison comes down. It does hit the stun. Hansama's disengaged. Boxer there. Mickey X off towards the backside. Fnatic pushing forward, but Misfits are trying to answer it. Alphari with a triple taunt. The Cataclysm comes out as well, and Misfits somehow survive. Maxwell gets out. Fnatic alive as well. 5v5. It still remains unkilled thus far in this fight.
Such a close fight here. No flashes used on Fnatic's side. Maxed on Alphari had to use it on the side of Misfits. Shen ulti on cooldown. It's Fnatic's turn to look towards the Baron. They're starting it. Misfits, they're coming.
Here we go again. Alphari looking for Soaz. Hansama there as well. The Baron's already fallen, but Misfits are looking for a fight. They want a Barney. They want a Bray. They want to take down Fnatic. And they're diving into the pit. Hansama on Hillersan Caps. Reckless still alive. Alphari forced back. But the Misfits are coming in from the side now as Fnatic have to run for the hills. Mickey X might look for a further engage. They get one. But Misfits can't get more, and Fnatic get the Baron.
So 1 kill for Misfits, Baron for Fnatic. It's their turn to use the buffed up minions. They only have 1 banner on their side. Close fights, man. This game is delivering. So fun watching these two teams just go at it against each other. Senkus was the one who picked up the kill on his side. Elder Drake is here. Fnatic went back to base, and Caps is sitting top without teleport. Alphari can just sit and match against him. He has TP on his side. So Elder Drake with 3 Drakes on the side of Misfits. That's a big one. This can stop the push from Fnatic.
Definitely.
They just gotta get back in time.
Gonna try and get back. Should be able to get there just about in time because Reckless retreats to that top side jungle. Almost cresting the 40-minute mark here to Fischio. Misfits' early game was strong. They have this big Anivia as well. in such a good position, but this Baron fight was so strong for Fnatic.
Yeah, Fnatic turn around for the Baron. They're stuck in the Baron pit, but no one can actually go in and kill them because on the side of Misfits here, if they don't get the full engage on the carries, they can't get close enough, and it's just kite back, and Senkrux eventually finds a kill for his team. No one else dies, everyone else from Fnatic steps away. Move in. Baron buffed minions. Maybe a wall.
I mean, I'm sure that was meant to do something.
Well, yeah, the minions don't walk straight to the turret.
I guess that's true, but they're going to claim it out anyway. Get rid of the Baron-empowered minion. It's so close between these two games. It's been such a clean game as well. Crisp from them. No deaths on Reckless, no deaths on Senkrux either. Both these teams just know exactly how they want to play.
Misfits be unhappy they couldn't secure Baron earlier in the game. Force them into a position where they can still win, but they have to massively outplay Fnatic in the next team fight. It is important to note that Shen, if he gets onto a carry, deals quite a lot of damage in the first few seconds of it, and it is enough to force him to capture Reckless back. So Alphari is by no means useless, and also he can block a ton of auto attacks against 2 carries on the side of Fnatic.
Reckless is now fully built as well. 5 items complete, as is Caps.
Also do want to highlight that Hylissang did keep his dematerializer. And again, it's just in case he needs to use it on a late game banner of command minion. We're so far into the game that he's probably fine without it, and now he can just kind of use it on whatever he wants. But he did have the option, because it is a great tool if you want to stall. Because you want to kill that banner of command minion, so they have to wait for the next one to be ready, and then you take away a lot of time on the Baron bomb. So he had the option in this game.
Misfits going to put some pressure down into this jungle. I've realized, Fisher, I really like banner-empowered minions. Watching them get taken down by these, really hard-hitting AP carries. That's Max for...
Oh, Caps.
Looks for Caps. Mickey gonna get the jump in. Glacier Prince comes out. There's the teleport as well. Blocks it with the chase. And the Zhang onto Maxwell. Doesn't get the knockup, but the stun is going to connect. Now Senkrux has to put down the Glacier Sword. A great crystallize as well. Stops Fnatic in their tracks, and Misfits hold on to the fight. Mickey in that front line. Hans Summer looking for the chase now. He can sense it. He wants blood, but they cannot go any further.
Great wall right there from Senkrux. Broxy was actually baiting it, sitting in that brush, hoping he could one-shot Mickey, but it is, of course, cleansing in the late game with the spellbook from the Rakan. So I thought, man, this is it. You catch that jungler, kill him, win the game, and Senkrux says no, and we see why the Anivia was locked in so early in the draft against this Sion. The game continues. The late game fights, no matter what you see with the composition, still just comes down to that execution. If you see a great stun connect from Senkrux, the burst damage in the late game, especially once he gets Death King, how close? He's on 2,000 gold, so he's getting very close. That burst damage on a squishy target, it's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Still needs about 1,500.
Oh, they're trying to catch Alphari here. 4 members.
4 guys going to come down towards this bottom side. Alphari is pushed forward, uses the taunt to try and get away. The prison flashed away from. Here comes Hylissang for the knockup though. Key's refuge comes down as Alphari tries to keep himself alive. The decimating smash will hit him in the face, but Fnatic maybe have stayed too long. As Boxers jump forward. Here comes the Cataclysm, locked the caged animal in the midst of it all. A great crystallize as well. And Fnatic lose a man as they try to go for the engage.
They thought they could just take down the Shen fast enough, but Alphari did everything, could still out. They're gonna kill Soaz as well.
They're gonna lose 2. Misfits capitalize and collapse on Fnatic, who went for a daring play in the bottom lane.
So we got 35 seconds on Broxah, 50 seconds on Soaz. All of Misfits still alive. They're pushing straight for that base. We know Alphari's TP is available. He can just use it to join the team again. No banner available on the Shen side, but Mickey just use his. Going for that inhib. They got a giant wave top the Reckless will kill, but that means he's not here defending bottom side.
Should at least be an inhibitor here for Misfits. 14 seconds on Broxah, 30 on Soaz. No teleport on Soaz either when he comes back up. Pushing in with Bob, or Mini Bob, who decided to call him. Inhibitor tower will go down. You can see Hylissang trying to position off towards the side. He's actually going to get behind Misfits here. The inhibitor goes down, but another great wall from Senkrux. Glacial Prism hits, cleanse. Misfits get away.
Everyone get to walk away. Misfits gets an inhib. Nice little win for them. Sadly, this late in the game, only one wave of super minions. Pretty easy to take down. Fnatic tried to go for the pick here. 4 members against Alfari, but he flashed out the first stun, gets under the turret and just stays alive for as long as possible. Denying as many autos as he can, and then the taunt is ready. And Broxer and the rest of Fnatic, of course, after not killing the Shen, went too deep. And Source also ends up dying after a good chase. Stun connects.
Great stun from
Slowed down forever, never getting out.
That front line that Fnatic wanted to play around. We said they had 3 tanks in the front, and they had these 2 damage dealers in the back line. Well, if your front line dies early on, you can't really kite back that effectively.
Baron number 3 about to spawn. They have a lot of damage on Fnatic's side to take it down, but all of Misfits, they're around, they know, they already blue trinket, they're coming now. Hylissang is behind.
Hylissang's trying to pull a Mickey, trying to disengage this fight. Mickey jumps in. Mickey steals the Baron somehow! How the hell did that happen? Misfits get the Baron, they're going to get out as well because Fnatic are just shocked by Mickey. What an absolute god!
Now Misfits, they get to push. They already got the bot inhib down. They just need to take down another turret in mid, get another inhib, and suddenly Fnatic are pushed so far back. The last 2 fights, first one was Fnatic chasing on the turret and losing the front line, and then now we didn't even get a big fight. It just ended up being a Baron steal by support.
Do not understand League of Legends.
That
Another
work,
great
SOS.
wall onto SOS. Such a smart pick of this Anivia. Minions pushing in that bot wave, of course. There is Bob as well helping.
Dematerializer.
Dematerialize.
It was saved. The last stack 45 minutes in.
And Summer's going to say, okay, Bob might have not been able to do the job. I might be able to do it myself. Boxer jumps in, but that's only onto Alfari. Going to chunk him down a little bit. Mickey with the engage. Jumps back out. Hylissang double knockup. That's on Hansama as well, but he's in the front line now. Maxwell needs to get away. EQ combo. And Fnatic will hold on to their inhibitor for the moment, but another banner comes out.
Another thing about this Anivia wall is Senkus keeps trying to deny Reckless entrance to the fight because Sivir has to walk around the wall every single time. So Misfits keep being able to just kite back. And they're keeping this game so even.
You have to remember, second Elder's going to come up. It was buffed on this patch. You get a ton more damage out of it, lasts for longer, and you get extra bonuses from your elemental. But this is what we want to be watching. It's Mickey X.
Dives in, Smite comes down at
46 HP!
Gets it.
Calculated.
That was so close, but yes, the Elder Drake with the buff supposed to be there. If you get 2 Elder Drakes, surely you have to win the game. They got 3 Drakes on their side. They have to secure this one. Fnatic knows it. We're gonna get maybe the final fight around it.
There they go, they don't secure it. Fnatic get the Drake for themselves. So as they're in the front line, he goes into the wall, face plants. And that means he's gonna fall. Boxer tries to get away as well, but the prison does not connect. Misfits will push forward onto Fnatic here. Alpha's gonna chase Boxer down towards the bottom side. Should they go for Hylissang instead? There's the standing on him. Onto Senkus, look at the damage from him, but Senkus flashes away. They'll catch out Hylissang, he's gonna pay for it. Eventually he will fall.
They're still chasing Reckless. Let's see if they can kill him. If they can, they can win the game.
Alfari and Maxwell on towards Reckless, but Caps is here from the side as well. Misfits might just want to end the game anyway. Have to remember they've got everyone up.
Senkus was too low. He's back in base. Senkus is in base. He was way too low after the fight. There's Elder Drake on the side of Fnatic. Misfits are trying here. They got super minions coming in. They want to finish, but then Nivea is not here. It's only 4 members.
She's on her way from...
Takes a sweet ass time. Get moving, Senkus.
She can't flap any quicker, man. They will get there.
Oh, they're still waiting. They're still waiting.
But they've got their caster buff minions.
Yeah, Source is alive in 10 seconds. They're trying now. They got the
Caps has flashes. Cleanse away. Featherstorm. One more auto. That's enough. And Caps is down. And Misfits can look to close out the game because Senkus has finally flapped his way down the mid lane. Reckless in the midst. Flashes away. Can do a lot of work here. The wall comes down, but Reckless still alive. Charm still doesn't connect. Mickey eventually gets on towards that back line. Misfits are falling to pieces here. Reckless still alive. 1-for-1 trade.
They got
the
one
Nexus
turret.
tower goes down. Senkus alive. And Summer as well, but here comes the cow, and he is angry as he jumps straight onto the line. The shutdown on Hansama. Stankook's caught out as well. Misfits fall apart towards Fnatic.
Reckless did everything perfect right there. He dodged all the CC. He stayed alive, and he dealt enough damage to force Misfits back. They couldn't finish the game. I can't believe we're getting to 50 minutes now of just back and forth fights. Where, oh, now it's Misfits' turn, then it's Fnatic's turn, and they keep trading objectives. We had a support stealing Baron, and then after Hansama makes the big play and kills Caps. Look at this play here. Crit's coming in, flashes forward, takes him down on the turret. Surely, game is over because good old Senkux, he's moved from base. He's finally here. And then, look at Reckless in this fight. Flashes out, then knows Mickey will try and jump him with the Rakan, steps out, and then deals enough damage in return. Spell shields the charm, and he stays alive, secures a kill for his team. And now our Misfits have 4 members. They can't finish because there's still a full HP late game Sivir, who then can deal enough damage in return to force Misfits back.
Getting that Elder Drake helped out a lot. Reckless did so much more damage because of it. That's why we highlight him as the MVP candidate that he is.
But thank you also to Misfits for just showing up in the late game. Yes, it's still back and forth, but this is a team who's been dropping games around the 30-minute mark so often. We are getting into this point where they've been so close in these fights here. They have a comp that's harder to execute in the late game. A lot of it comes down to Senkux and the way he's playing Anivia in these fights. Great game on his side, and Misfits can still just win one fight, and surely that's going to give them the game.
Let's go for it, Deficio. Hansama, 6 items, Trinity Force there now as well. Senkux still has the boots, but he's very big on this Anivia. 5 items on Caps, 5 items on Reckless, full builds all round. No second banner of command on Fnatic yet, so Tut Fnatic should get the second banner of command.
Love the change of tone right there.
It's important.
That is a great casting.
You have to big up people when they do good things, and when they do bad things, you respectfully tut at them. But they have got a ZZ Rot, so that's
yeah. This is about winning a fight now, not about putting banner on a minion anymore. It's not going to be that effective for you. Get better items for team fighting. Like, I like the Righteous Glory on Hillisang's side.
No, that's true. That's true. I like that as well.
Okay, let's see. Misfits, Baron, 55 seconds. Remember Fnatic and Misfits both had 1 Elder Drake each, so the next one is even bigger.
We missed a little really cool bit of action here, right? So Reckless, sitting on Berserker Greaves, right? Guess what he had a few minutes?
Yes, he sold it for ZZ Rod, placed it, then sold it for Banner of Command, put the Banner of Command on a minion, sold that one as well, and bought boots.
That's crazy! That's okay, you didn't say it in the right way. People didn't react.
Well, it was just used to defend, so...
It's so cool, though.
Yeah, but it wasn't like mind-blowing
Look
yet.
at how much gold he had because of it.
Yes, he has almost 700 CS.
It's amazing.
You're right.
Good stuff, Reckless.
He did it.
Positive reinforcement.
The ZZ Rod is currently defending mid, and then it dies to 1-shot.
Eventually. Well, 5 shots, but still. Misfits are going to push down the mid lane here. Look at those damage stats. Everyone coming up big in this game. Support's very even. Always important to note that.
Oh, yes. Which support will win the damage fight?
Baron up in a minute.
They're starting it instantly. Fnatic. Swords is not there yet. He still needs to either TP.
Oh, holy hell, that shreds quickly. It's down to 5,000 already. The Crystallize comes out. Boxer trying to get in the pit, but he just can't get away from Mickey. Hansama takes a chunk. Mickey flashes into the pit, jumps away. Hillisang with the engage. There's the unstoppable onslaught as well from Soaz. Fnatic trying to find the fight, but they've lost the Baron already. Flash away. Glacial Prism there as well. Fnatic pushing forward, but Misfits are able to defend. They can push in that top wave as well, Deficio.
They got the wave. They got the Bannon. Bannon. Yeah, let's call the Bannon now.
So
it's going.
Fnatic aren't done yet. They want a fight. They're not giving this one up easily. Misfits, 5-man stack. Crystallize comes down. Remember, no ult for Soaz here either.
They got the minions, though. Hillisang.
Smash. Caps has distracted the minions.
He was losing the fight against the minion as well.
Easily distractible are minions.
But
like hamsters.
All of Misfits dancing around. Hillisang behind them again together with Caps. Can he find the engage?
Righteous Glory available for him.
No ulti on Broxer though, so that is one big ulti down. Same thing for Maxlor actually. Both junglers without ultis if the fight breaks out.
Soaz does have his though. Mid lane is going to push in slowly for Misfits. That's ZZ Rot down. Hillisang. Sexy's got a good position here. Mickey waiting for the quick.
Oh, it's so tense, man. Who's going to engage?
This is it. This fight decides the game.
Hillisang, he wants to find his
on the hunt. Reckless says, let's go. And Fnatic try and get the engage. The Taunt Hunt summoning the backline, but Reckless is down. And Misfits' hopes are alive because Fnatic collapsed. The Cataclysm down towards the bottom side. So as caught out by Hansama and Alfari.
That should be
it. The taunt misses, but that should be it as Alfari brings down the hammer on them. Broxer dies as well. Misfits win the fight.
The rest of Fnatic are trying to go back and defend, but Caps is in the mid lane killing the minion wave, trying to stop Misfits from ending.
Here comes Alfari, just trying to stop Caps from getting away. Yeah, Cap's just clearing out as many waves as possible.
He just wants to kill the Minty, but he still needs to get out. Nope,
Gets
he can't.
caught out by
He's gone.
He is down. Let's look at timers. 50 seconds Soas, 50 seconds Box.
They got it,
70 seconds. Reckless is up in 40, but it's just not soon enough for Fnatic.
They just had to win that last fight here from Misfits. They killed Reckless instantly. Both summoners still available on the Sivir, but he dropped, he got CC'd, and Misfits will win the game.
The team with 3 birds are going to flap their way to victory. Hillisang falls. There's the ace for Misfits as they take down the #1 team in Fnatic and keep their road to playoffs well and truly alive.
Such a good game. Match of the week for a reason.
Oh, baby.
Misfits plays well in the late game. Reckless looks destroyed, knowing that him dying in the last fight with summoners and everything gave the edge over to Misfits. But man, they had to execute a tough late game comp. Built around an Anivia. Senkooks executed it. 8-1-0. We gotta watch that last fight again for sure. And 2-0 head-to-head for Misfits, because they were the ones who gave Fnatic a loss early in the split, and now they're the ones ending Fnatic's winning streak.
They were lost before the winning streak started, and they are the loss to close it out. Misfits come up
The
huge.
circle of life.
You're going to start singing for us as well, Deficio.
My voice is dead.
Yeah, so is mine after that game. But what a game it was. Fnatic shouldn't feel too dismayed. They played well. Maybe those late game fights weren't as well coordinated as they could have been. They seem to be getting split up a little bit by Misfits.
Misfits proving Kasing wrong.
Proving me right!
That late game
I was the only one!
Easy for Fnatic, but yes, you get that one. Nice humble brag.
Thank you, thank you. The amount that you humble brag as well. We're going to have another look at that last replay in just a second, Deficio, because it definitely came down to these final fights, really deciding the game.
Yes.
There's so many times that not much really happened in the fight.
We'll just have to see what happened with Reckless. That was the big one in favor of Misfits. That's where they won the game, when they killed the Sivir. So that is going to be what we just have to look at in this replay.
And we definitely will, because there were many fights building up to this where it was like, one person dies, no one dies, the wall comes out and stops the engage, Misfits get a Baron, Fnatic get a Baron. You never really knew who was actually ahead at times, because it felt like Misfits shouldn't have been.
But it's just execution, man. It was execution, and Misfits played the fights so well in the late game. And that's why we're sitting here now with Misfits picking up a crucial, crucial win when it comes to the playoff race, because we looked at the schedules and we were like, okay, let's just count all the games against G2 and Fnatic as losses for the other 8 teams and say, okay, how many other games do they have to win? What kind of teams are they playing? And Misfits' schedule is not too scary.
No.
And Fnatic was one of the ones we counted as a loss. That's now a win.
They've got H2K, Splice, Giants, Rocket, and Unicorns of Love.
I mean, that's probably at least 3 wins for Misfits.
And they're already at 7 points, so 3 wins takes them to 10. That's where we think...
They're chasing top 2 right now. Yeah. They won that bye week straight to the semi-final.
Especially after beating Fnatic. We are going to have another look at that replay, so let's have just a gander at how this final team fight went down.
All right, look at Reckless on the Sivir. What happens to him? Everything is ready. Oh, he steps
so
in to
good.
try and kill Ansama. He tunnel visions on the AD carry, and Alfari just taunts him and kills him. Was very split up from Fnatic.
Great crystallize again from Senkooks to split up that fight. He had a barnstormer of a game, you have to say. That Anivia, a very good pick for him. We were worried that against Caps he would struggle, but you can see Reckless knows that it was not a mistake that he should be making at that point in the game.
Tough fight to play as well when you have frontline and double AD carry and you end up splitting it all up. So suddenly you don't have a front line.
That's what Misfits did so well.
They stayed together.
We said you need this front line. You need 3 people in front of Sivir and Corki to do the damage. It didn't work. For Match of the Week, our analysts have narrowed it down to Senkooks, Mickey X. Oh, that Baron steal. I almost forgot about that. And Alfari in for the fight for player of the game. Be sure to give us your favour at LOL Esports on Twitter. As a support main who can't play Rakan at all, I have to give it to Mickey. That was just 46 HP. He jumps in, he steals it. Oh, it's amazing. We'll soon talk to Senkooks and Mickey. And after that, Gilius is joining us for the EU LCS post-game lobby. Be sure to stick around and see who he thinks is the best jungler in Europe. I wonder who that might be. You think it's going to be you?
Hey, that Garen.
Going to send it over to Dracos and hear what Senkooks and Mickey have to say after taking down the league leaders, Fnatic.
Deficio's Garen is awful, for the record, before we get into this. Welcome, gentlemen. I'm actually super stunned. Coming into this week, I'll be honest, I was a doubter. I did not predict you, I predicted Fnatic, and you absolutely proved me wrong. How does it feel to take them down today?
Feels really great. It's like we had some pretty bad weeks, so like 2-3 weeks where we almost got perfect game by Rocket. We lost to Giants, so I know I listened to the Euphoria cast and I heard your doubt, but I feel like we are getting back to form now, and I feel like we're doing better and better for every week.
And it feels like a lot of really clutch moments came in. Mickey, I don't think you're gonna be surprised. Rakan, Baron steal. Up until you stole that Baron, I thought you were leaping into your death. What was going through your head when you leaped into that pit?
Well, mostly I just wanted to CC their carries, I guess. But I accidentally just ran through the Nash with my ult up, so I think my ult stole it. And yeah, that was pretty interesting.
You heard Medic talk, 46 HP, very clutch to come through. It was kind of back and forth. Senkos, you picked up a new pick. The Anivia, not something that we've seen a whole ton. How did it kind of interact with the Fnatic team comp? What was the thought process behind it?
I'm not going to give away too much because it's a new pick, but I mean, as people can see, the tier buffs are pretty strong in this patch. Made a big difference. I think Anivia as a pick right now is a decent champ, and it just suited the team comp we had, and it suited the playstyle that we've had so far, and that's why I chose to pick it up. Also, it's something that I used to play a lot back in the early seasons, so yeah.
Well, look good for you, man. Now, my question for you, Mickey, is that Banner Command is kind of the big topic right now, right? People see that it's clearly very, very strong. Was this something you guys were very prepared for and came with strategies to kind of counteract this sort of meta, or were you not too worried about it?
Well, in scrims, we realized that it's pretty OP, so if you like get Nash, you can get at least 1 or 2 towers for free if you just protect the minion. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, I like it. That's pretty simple and straightforward. Now, Senkux, back to you. More kind of on a personal note, a lot of people have put you as a middle of the pack mid laner for a long time. I feel like we have this conversation once a split.
Yeah, we had this last
we've had
time.
this literally.
I think I played Soul, and then you were asking me.
Yeah, and then you popped off. So so now I'm asking, when do we find the consistency, man? Because sometimes you have these games like this Anivia game where you absolutely crush people, and then sometimes you have games where you're just not impactful. So for you, where do you find that consistency? How do you get that level of Senkux that we saw today in every single game?
I feel people were right saying that I didn't perform so well the first couple of weeks. I think the biggest enemy for me this split has been myself. I think on stage I haven't been performing like I should have, but I feel like these past 2 or 3 weeks I've been doing a lot better. And sure, people saying I'm not the most shiny player, but League of Legends is not a game right now where it's about shining. And obviously there's a lot of good mid laners in Europe, but I'm still confident now in my ability.
And I mean, man, it is good to hear. Now, we're about to head over to the post-game lobby. Before we do, Mickey X, you have been voted player of the game.
That's right.
Half the vote, 50%. You steal a Baron with Rakan, player of the game, guaranteed. Thank you, gentlemen, both so much for joining me. Congrats again on taking down Fnatic. For now, though, we are going to send it over to the post-game lobby with Deficio, Amazing, Gilius, and Shox.
Welcome everyone to the LCS post-game lobby, where I am joined by the Fisho, by Amazing, and by Gilius. Welcome all of you. Gilius, glad we get to have you on PGL. Congratulations on your win today.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Also honored to be joined by colleagues, great junglers, just like myself. We can talk about jungle tier list and all that kind of stuff.
That we can. We will talk about jungle tier list. We will talk about the patch. But first, I want to talk about this game we just saw. You just casted it. You said it was a long game, but it was an incredibly hype game. Misfits versus Fnatic. Misfits ending the 7-game winning streak from Fnatic. The last team that Fnatic lost to in week 3 before they went on the winning streak was also Misfits, and it was also a very close one. Gilius, what were your main takeaways from this 50-minute game?
So Senkux really stepped up today, played really good. I think when Senkux performs well, Misfits looks like a completely new team.
Is he the key to this lineup?
I think so. Mid lane is just a really broken role at the moment, like in professional play. And I think in this patch, if you get Nash, you basically win the game, and they managed to get the Nashers. So.
Yeah, and Rakan stole it. Mickey X had a fantastic game.
They got a few Nashes in this game.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know how that happened, but...
See, when we have this kind of game, and it's long, I love it. Because it's like fighting all the time, it's super tense. Last team fight, Reckless looks at the Xayah, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna kill her, and then there's a Shen right next to her. And he just gets on, he dies. he knows it's on him, even though it was a really tough situation because they were completely split up. But this kind of game was like super tense.
It was super tense, and for me, it was very interesting to see because Misfits is always said to be a really good team. They deserve to be top 3, all that stuff. But for me, this was really a key game to see if they could really make it happen. And the fact that it was so close and that they stayed in the race and that they fought back, for me, is a big sign that they seem to have taken a step up. I don't know if you share that, that thought.
No, I do think so. I think that Senkuk's actually showing something because beforehand he's basically been honestly bad. He has been inefficient. He has not really done anything for the lineup. And him actually stepping up and showing that he can be a focal point of the early game and to the mid game is something that I think is really important. As Gilles already said, I think he's the key to the lineup. And if he performs, Misfits is a contender. If he doesn't, they're merely a playoff team.
All right, well, that day and night difference for Misfits. Let's take a look at the standings because I have a couple of questions about our formerly top teams. G2 didn't manage to win today, and Fnatic didn't manage to win today. How much should we read into that, official?
I think G2's draft was absolutely garbage in this game. Completely misreading what actually they were supposed to do. They gave away Zyra Khan plus Galio in a meta where, as Gillies said, if you get ahead and get Baron, you tend to win the game. So they had no lanes they could play around, and they couldn't stall for long enough to actually do anything. So I think that game was really poor drafting that cost them a lot.
So let me jump in there then. Worried about a team, if it's a misread of the meta, you know that's fixable, in essence, right?
It should be. I mean, I'm sure they know exactly what went wrong also in-game, and they can fix that, but it might not be fixed just for tomorrow. If they've been practicing something completely different, it could look bad for them tomorrow as well.
We will see. For Fnatic, now they lost this game. Gilius, and for them it seemed to be a bit more complicated because it was in the late game where they usually thrive. Reckless was still playing absolutely on point, and he still lost that game. So is that a worrisome sign for Fnatic, or will they bounce back?
I can't take that much info away from the standings, honestly, because it's best of ones. Fnatic will, I mean, they lost today. They will bounce back next week, I guess. Tomorrow,
yeah, because I was tricking you because you're playing them
tomorrow they will lose to us, obviously.
So, well, then they will bounce back next week.
Yeah, they will bounce back next week. But like, best of ones don't tell that much, you know. One team, a weaker team can just come in with a great plan for one game, execute, get a win. When they then enter playoffs and best of fives, they will really crumble. So.
All right.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it is very hard to tell. As said, a lot of these teams swing either way, depending on the week. Splice, for instance, okay, G2 had a pretty crappy draft, according to you, but Splice had a very convincing game over G2. So where do we stand with that? You did have them in your playoff prediction, so you are not surprised.
The only believer out of the other casters. I think the fact that Splice already a week or two ago started playing more around Odamna early game actually gave them a way to win early. Which was really good. So that kind of translated into this.
Thing had a fantastic game.
Because yeah, of course, like with the Zyra Khan and this one, the Galio, they just kind of swapped it to the bottom side. So I think they show much better early games than they did in the start, where they were like one of the worst. And I think they're pretty good team fighters. So I actually like Splice, but I don't think they're going to be one of the best teams in Europe. I just think they're good enough to make playoffs.
Make playoffs, and then we'll see from there. I said it's a whole different ballgame between best of ones and best of threes, best of fives. So we'll see how that evolves. For now, though, I want to take a look at some people that have been performing in best of ones and some people maybe not that well, because Gilius took a look at the junglers in the EU LCS in the league, and you've picked out the players that you think have performed the best so far. Before we get to the list, though, I want to ask you what in your mind constitutes a good jungler? What are the features of a good jungler?
So in best of ones, it's about making a good game plan, coming in as a jungler, playing around your mid laner really well. Often a jungler can be very good, but if his mid laner is underperforming, he will look really bad. So this list is really hard to do because I rather went in a best of five mindset with this list. Like the top 3 junglers are the best ones and best of fives. If Joko is in the last ranks, it doesn't mean he... How do I explain this? I mean, Joko has looked good in best of ones, right? But I don't think he will look good in best of fives.
Against him.
He's easy to kind of adapt to and then shut him down.
So you're looking ahead to playoffs already, and if these teams play there. So without further ado, let's take a look at the list. And at number one
pick.
Who is the number 1 pick?
It's amazing!
All right, so Gilius, obviously, it seems that you think you're good in best of fives. But I kind of think you think you're also very good in best of ones.
I think in the start of the split, I showed some good games in best of ones, but the last 2 weeks, I think I really underperformed and didn't take practice serious enough. And coming into this week, we practiced really hard. We were full try hard, and yeah, it's showing in the game today. So.
Amazing. Was also thinking about this ranking, what it would be if he were to make it, and I can just tell you that you definitely weren't in #1 in Amazing's list, but we don't have to show the whole thing.
My list was more of a power ranking in the best of 1 setting, because I think that a lot of junglers, like obviously, like I think Gilius, for example, like in the past 2 weeks, like he has said himself that he's been underperforming. I'll definitely put him lower. Where someone like Joko, I think my list basically consisted of players that can make or break a team, and I think a lot of junglers have a different role on different teams. So for example, Joko, if he doesn't gank early, Giants lose every game. That's how it is. So Joko actually stepping up to the plate and saying, okay, I'm going to make some early plays, makes him a good jungler. Whereas someone, for example, like Boxer, even though he's still great and he was actually high on my list, doesn't have to always do that and doesn't quite have that kind of ability to do that either.
Yeah, that one jumps out to me. Broxa only at #6 and Xerxes at #4. Those are 2 ones that piqued my interest. Let's start with Xerxes, because when we look at Splice, we said like the top side of their map isn't really always taking over games, and Xerxes was quite passive in the first weeks of the split the show. So how do you think he will adapt going into best of 5s?
I actually think Xerxes deserves to be top 4. I think mechanically he's very good. He still needs to learn a lot on exactly like how to optimally play the map as a jungler. I think that's what he's learning a lot on Splice now. But in a best of 5, I can see him also kind of surprised a little bit with certain picks in the way he's playing. Like his Ivern is always one you have to keep in mind that can actually be super valuable. I think mechanically he's super gifted. So I like him actually being high on the list. The one I'm a little bit surprised about is Cold at #7 and then Pride at #10. I don't necessarily disagree too much, but I want to know why you think Pride is #10, because Schalke was pretty hyped about having him signed early on as this like big talent who of course would do a lot.
I would actually not change it. I would keep Pride there 100%. I think he's...
Oh, I just want to know why. That's basically...
Oh, you want to know why? It doesn't seem like he really understands like the game on the highest level strategically. I think he has great mechanics and a lot of potential, but I think he doesn't do creative stuff. He's not really flexible with his champions. He either plays only carries or only tanks. He's really predictable in the things he does. Like today, I had no Tracker's Knife, but I always knew where he was. It was pretty easy to play against. And I think in best of 5s, he will really crumble. I think he will get absolutely dumpstered.
Yeah, sorry to jump in. That's what I meant. Like, if they then get into playoffs, what will happen there? Do you think these are all things that evolve by time? Do you see enough base in Pride that you think, all right, he just needs time to nurture all these things?
I don't know. It's hard to say because Xerxes, when he came in as a rookie, he was super smart, destroying people, picking weird champions, throwing people off.
Yep.
So I don't know. And he's not even a rookie, right? He played the whole year on Rocket. That's what people forget. So I'm not sure how much higher he can go. But I want to go back to Cold. I think Cold will be really good in best of 5s. He's a very smart player, and he.
That's why I would put him higher.
Yeah, for sure. I would put him higher, but I don't really know who. Like, it's hard, you know.
Yeah.
I would put him over Broxer. It's hard to put him over Broxer because Broxer has international experience now. So yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a lot of factors that go into it. Then what would happen in best of 5? So someone has to be #10, someone has to be #9. So we'll be wiser about 6 teams at least when they play in playoffs. Final thought, is there anything else you guys want to say about any of these junglers? Memento, #5, obviously had a fantastic 1 game today on Kha'Zix, but we've seen good early games from him also consistently.
I think he's also smart. And he's like he's the captain, he's the shot caller on his team. Like everything they do kind of built around him. So there's a lot of pressure on him, and I think actually he's really good on like some of these different carries. Especially Kha'Zix was fantastic today. So I like Memento as well.
Right.
I actually like our jungle pool.
Surprisingly quiet about the list.
No, I mean...
Where would you be in the list?
Yeah.
You actually want an honest opinion?
Sure, yeah.
I think I would be in the top 6, maybe top 5. Because the thing is, for me, it's about, like, at least in best of 5s, it's about preparation. I think a lot of the junglers nowadays, they don't quite understand the preparation part. I think they understand the playmaking part in terms of, like, making a momentary decision, someone like Joko, but they don't quite understand what it takes to actually transcend the team, make them even better than they actually are. Because in playoffs, you have to step up and you have to understand not just ward coverage, you have to understand pathing patterns. You have to understand your own pathing patterns and like basically distinctive play styles that certain teams bring onto the table. And I don't think that a lot of junglers have I don't want to say mental capacity, but they don't quite understand what it takes to beat the enemy team. They just know what makes themselves win, if that makes sense.
You'll be under Cadril on my list.
Glad you're not making this.
Well, fantastic. Thank you very much for giving us this list, and we'll follow up and see how they do in playoffs, these junglers. But today, we also got the first look at patch 8.4, so we're going to break down some things that stood out so far. I know you guys have been waiting for an EU version of this or that. We heard you, so we're going to talk about the patch in that or this.
Okay.
First up, that or this. Gilius or Banner of Command? Go ahead.
Who do we want, or
yeah, that or this, man?
I'm taking this.
I'm going with this. I want the banner, man.
I'm going for this as well.
Oh, 3 times. Okay, next one then. Reckless or?
Wait, is he coming? I mean, is Reckless going to play Tristana?
Or Banner of Command?
Banned every game.
Okay. Banner of Command.
Going for that.
Yeah, I want Reckless. I'm
So
going that as well.
he did lose today against...
Yeah, but I'm taking Reckless here.
Reckless,
I'm taking Reckless.
All right. Finally, one last one. Banner of Command?
Actually,
Turks or Banner of
that's
Command?
that too, actually.
That
Yes,
too?
100% this.
Really?
After today. I'm kidding.
Well, thank you guys very much. This is obviously a bit of a joke. We're not going to be doing that or this. We do love this or that over when Jat and Kobe do it, or Zale this week. But we do want to talk about the patch, and we do want to talk about Banner of Command. The first games of the day, we thought there's no counterplay. Then H2K offered some counterplay with the hard engage. What do you think?
I came into this week and said, okay, it's gonna suck if you lose Baron, but there are some things you can do.
Name them.
Dematerialize, if you save it for late game. If you have a stalling comp, you can use it on especially the first Baron you lose to instantly kill the wave. Oh, sorry, kill the banner. So that's one thing. We saw Hylissang actually do that in the last game they played. It's the only one. I think the other one is, it's a tough one, but if you run a comp with a lot of engage, it's tough because you have to win the fight, but at least you can try and force a fight when you are getting sieged on. The problem is if the enemy team has a way stronger mid-game comp, you're probably just going to lose that fight, and then it's really tough. Then there's Sion knocking it away. Tom Kench can Q and W it to eat it. Buys a lot of time as well.
But then he needs to walk up, right?
Yeah, he needs to get in range of, but I think he can get in range enough, or try to at least. I mean, none of these are perfect solutions.
Yeah, I was
You can smite it, by the way.
Smite it?
Yeah, it does true damage.
But doesn't kill it, sadly.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah.
I guess all of these kind of some game minion dematerializers, you gotta then save the slot, save some of the
it has to be
charges at
support
least.
properly.
Has to be the support. Then the hard engage is comp dependent and also doesn't always work. We saw that from H2K. I think we're going to take a look at it because they did get the hard engage, they got the fight, but it didn't work in the end. So
it's
I mean,
obviously overpowered.
It's pretty overpowered.
Yeah, 100%.
So, Gilius, what do you think?
It's pretty unbalanced. I actually didn't know about this. The whole week of scrims, there was not a single banner of command.
Really?
And then today we watched the first EU LCS game and we saw the banner stacks and we were like, okay, we're gonna buy some banners today.
That's a thing.
And it's actually pretty broken. It's way too far away, the creep. You almost can't kill it. And then the cooldown is not even that high. The price of the item is not even high. So it's pretty OP, yeah.
It's pretty strong, so we'll have to see tomorrow if there are more counter moves to it. I'm sure we're still going to see a lot of Banner of Commands. Some other changes that we tracked on the patch is the average first Baron time compared to previous patches. So the Baron actually gets taken earlier, on average, today at least, on this patch. Then after that, you get the buff. And you can use the Banner of Command. But how come they are being taken earlier then, Gilius?
So with Tracker's Knife being removed, it snowballs the game much faster. If the support is out of wards and has to recall, let's say you're deep in the enemy jungle, you have full deep vision, you see the support is recalling for wards, you know that the enemy has 0 chances to get any ward down, so you can just do Nash. And today, as example, we were ahead and Jizuka and me just 2-manned Nash because we just choked them out, so... Yeah, it's the Tracker's Knife change, I would say.
Well, the Tracker's Knife change outside of just Baron, all the objectives or all the vision, you mentioned it, I think, in one of the games as well. When you're behind, it's so very hard to see anything off the map and get vision out.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with the, as I said, Tracker's Knife, before if you were behind, you could place 2 wards, go back to base as a jungler, instantly get 2 new wards, and then you could, place 1, and then you have 1 you could move around, and you constantly try at least. to get some vision going. Now you have to constantly wait for a cooldown on a trinket that only lasts 2 minutes at level 18. So that's really late in the game. You're gonna get that. Before there's like 90 seconds, 100 seconds, and you pop in one ward. They have a control ward already. You just kill it. And you're like, well, guys, I'm useless for another minute or something. And it's almost impossible. I think blue trinkets and then try and pop them down in Baron to see when they're doing it seems to be the best way to do it. But the moment you lose in the mid game and you can't defend properly against Baron, it gets really difficult to play.
So
also, another problem is if the junglers have to keep the yellow trinket. Like, if they keep the yellow trinket, they will not be able to sweep the vision in their jungle, which chokes them out even harder. And if they actually get a sweeper, they even lack more wards. So it's a really rough spot right now.
That's what we saw today.
Change, do you think?
I think it's good, yeah. Like, if you play a good early game, you win the game. And if you get the first Nash, which is a challenge, like the team that gets the first Nash is supposed to win the game, in my opinion. So it's a nice change.
Well, you guys, when you got your 7 wins in the beginning of the split, it was definitely off a lot of early game moves and aggression and being to snowball that. So is this kind of a good change for you? If we get that early game strength back, we'll be able to close out games?
I think for some junglers, this change is good because the wards they placed were absolutely ridiculous. I think I placed really good wards with the old Tracker's Knife. Like, I had a really good idea of the vision game. So I wouldn't say it's a buff to me, but I don't really mind it either. Like right now, today, I had to tell Jack Troll like 5 times, hey, Jack Troll, can you ward here, please? Like, this is pretty annoying. I have to tell him, ward here, please, because he's the only guy who has wards.
Yeah.
But like some games when you build Eye of the Watcher, it's easier to play because your mid laner gets 4 wards. But today we didn't have that. So
I actually wonder if we're going to see some support items on the junglers to actually have the path coming in, because I don't think that Targens is that bad if you buy it really, really early on. I think that may be something. I've tried it in solo queue, especially on Lee Sin, because otherwise you don't get any wards.
Well, but we're definitely going to see it in mid laners, but at some point. We already saw in the LCK, it was actually built before this patch by Crown. I think it was Crown who did it, where he went for the support item in mid to get the wards, because it's so easy to get the 500 gold. Some top laners, maybe now that everyone is playing tanks, if the Banner of Command thing gets nerfed, and you don't have to rush that as a second item, I could see some top laners do it as well. And you find other ways to get wards that late game you can sell it, but until you get to that point, it's super valuable.
All right, so Banner of Command is pretty strong, but this vision change means that you're also in a position where it's harder for you to stop the enemies from taking the objectives when they're already ahead. So could that maybe be another factor why also Baron is so, the empowering is so strong, because they get Baron more often, because it's easier to go for those objectives if the other guy doesn't have any vision.
It's all a good combination, that just starts the snowball. That suddenly makes teams also target Baron much earlier for that reason, because they know how valuable it is to get.
Are you sad that the games went faster today, Martin?
I mean, we actually had...
last one went really long.
We had 2 games that went above 50 minutes of back and forth fighting. So I think this was a good middle ground. We had some quick games and some long games, but all the games were action-packed. And I think that was good, because I don't want the 8.1 meta of nothing happening unless Vitality plays.
Yeah, that is interesting, and we'll hope that continues tomorrow, because Week 7 and the race for playoffs continue then with only 5 games left for each team in the regular season. These are the matches. Vitality's going up against Fnatic. Can Vitality pull off a 2-0 week? Gilius, of course, thinks yes. Amazing, do you think they can?
I mean, I predicted Fnatic, but I do think that Vitality, after they're showing today, can actually make it happen.
For sure.
Can, yes, will, no.
Will, no. So what will it come down to? Because Fnatic didn't win today.
I mean, they were close. It was a close game. What does it come down to? Boring answer. Depends on the draft. I think if Fnatic go full late game again, they could fall far behind against Vitality and then give up an early Baron, which could hurt them a lot. But I think Fnatic might actually change and play a little bit more around the early game. And that's going to even it out.
Yeah, they have been going pretty late. Rockout versus Splice is our first game. Do you think Splice can finally get a 2-0 week? Amazing.
Rocket looked pretty good today, no?
Yeah.
So I actually... Like, they have to keep that tradition alive to just lose every week, and it's going to happen again.
We'll see what happens. Gilius, obviously, playoffs is in just a couple of weeks. 2 weeks and 1 game day. Actually, do you already mentally think about, you know what, we should be preparing already for how we're going to do then? It's really bad if we lose a lot of games now, even though we end up in playoffs? Do you want to put on a consistent good performance in the next couple of games?
For me, it's about having good practice. Like, the results don't matter too much. Obviously, it's nice if we get a semi-finals bye. We can be a bit more lazy then, but I don't mind
That's
going.
how it works.
I don't really mind going to quarters and just sweeping everyone there. Like, I legit I don't see much competition in this league. The weeks we lost because we fucked up, and there's no enemies. We are our own enemy, and when we play bad, we can lose to anyone. When we play good, we can beat anyone. So when playoffs arrive, we will beat everyone.
Would you say you're macro geniuses, or?
I think our macro is pretty good. Yeah.
I'm just memeing.
Gilius, tomorrow versus Fnatic, you already won that first game earlier in the split, so you would have a very good head-to-head there. It's 2-0 over them, which could be very good if you're challenging for the top spots, and you could take first place there, so it's super important.
Yeah, tomorrow we will bring the 2-0 home, yeah. I legit have no doubt in my mind.
Okie
Like,
doke.
after Fnatic's performance today, I don't really like. Caps talked so big in interviews, and then they deliver this performance, so yeah.
Ooh, I am excited for that matchup. Well, that is tomorrow, but be sure to stick around for tonight's action in the NALCS Academy. Clutch Gaming versus Optic Gaming is the first matchup there. If you didn't catch all of the EU action, you can also watch our rebroadcast following the show in North America. So you can just watch the whole time, then get a couple of hours of sleep, and then watch EU LCS again. It's fantastic.
Yeah, you can wake up in the morning. I think then the rebroadcast is over, but then you can watch LCK.
Yep.
And then LPL.
Watch LPL.
And then EU LCS.
Woo! And then NALCS.
And then NALCS.
Skip the LPL.
Watch it all. Well, thank you guys very much for joining me. Gilius, fantastic performance today. Good luck tomorrow as well. That is all from us in Berlin for tonight. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. for Roccat versus Splice. Until then, have a great night.
Joko looking very relaxed today as he goes up against Memento. I mean, there's so much pressure on the line here. Memento and Noscare and Steelback's running for his life. 300 hit points. That's a buster shot. Not going to be enough because